Hi guys, Chris here from High Island DIY. Today we're changing the oil in a 1991 Ford F-150. What you're going to need is 6 quarts of oil, either 5W30 or 10W30. I'm using 10W30 because this engine's got a lot of miles on it, so it's going to need the extra viscosity of the thicker oil. And then new oil filter. Here's the part number. This engine is a 302 cubic inch, 5.0 liter. Takes 5.5 quarts of oil. The other thing you're going to need is a 3/4 inch wrench to take out the drain plug, and a pan for the oil to be drained into. If you go under the front of the truck, here's the front axle. This is a 4-wheel drive. Right behind the front axle is where the drain plug is located. Make sure you have your pan handy. It's always good to drain your oil when your engine is still warm. So let it run for 5 minutes or drive it around town a little bit, or whatever. You don't need to get it really hot where you're going to burn yourself with the oil, but it's good to have it nice and warm. It'll drain faster, it'll drain more completely, and it's more likely to carry any impurities out of the engine when it's warm. Okay, so after you have the oil plug out and the oil draining, next step is to take off your old filter. On the driver's side of the truck, if you go under the front end, you can see the filter. There's a cutout in the frame, or a window in the frame where you can see it. This is the driver's side front tire, front axle straight in, right above the pumpkin in the center, or not in the center of the axle, but right above the pumpkin and the axle. That's where you're going to find your oil filter. Reach up there. You should be able to turn it off by hand unless somebody over tightened it. There's plenty of room. You should be able to get a filter wrench in there if you need to. But since I was the last person to change oil in this vehicle, I know that it's not going to be over tightened. I just kind of just dump the oil out. Okay, so here's another view of that oil filter, this time from the top. There's your power steering pump, oil fill, and check. If you look straight down, there's where your oil filter sits. So if you have problems getting out from the bottom, you can just grab it from the top after you've loosened it. Pulls right up past your manifold. Okay, so the Quaker State QS8A is not the correct filter for a Ford F-150 with a 5.0 302 liter V8 engine. According to their book in the store, this was the correct filter. This is the filter that was supposed to be for this truck, and this is the Motorcraft filter that I bought last time. As you can see, there's quite a difference. Obviously not going to work. So, got to make an extra trip into town and pick up another filter. I'm going to stick with the Motorcraft brand, like I should have done in the first place instead of buying what was on sale. So, well, we just got back from town, managed to find the right filter. Motorcraft. I had to go to Walmart to find this filter. None of the auto parts stores carried it. They had Fram and Napa had their Gold Series and stuff like that, but it's a good thing we ended up going to Walmart, because look what we found. Federal Auto Match boxes at $3.25. Grabbed 6 of them. That's all they had on the shelf. They were only like $17 a box, which ain't bad, but we lucked out. Gonna have to wait to finish the oil change because it's pouring outside. As soon as it stops though, hopefully I can get under the truck and put the plug back in the filter and then fill it up with oil. Okay, so it's still raining outside, but I checked the radar and it's only supposed to get worse as the day goes on, and I've got to get this truck done before the end of the day, so I'm going to have to suck it up and finish it in the rain. Got the new filter, 6 quarts of oil ready to go. I'm going to throw a piece of plywood down on the ground, get the drain plug put back in quick, and put the oil filter on. Then all we got to do is fill it up with oil. It shouldn't be too bad. Okay, we're underneath the truck now. Putting the drain plug back in. Alright, no need to over tighten drain plugs on anything. You don't want to strip them out, and you want to be able to get them out next time. Make sure to wipe off any excess drips, any old oil, so that if it starts leaking you'll be able to see. Next step is to put the oil filter on. Okay, here's the new oil filter. And since the angle that this goes on, it's hard to have any oil in the filter when you screw it on, otherwise it's going to drip everywhere. So just lightly oil the face of the filter so that you get a good seal, and then the engine will fill the filter as it runs. I'm going to put the filter in down through the top, through that window you can see right there. It's easier to get it in from the top than to try to feed it above the axle from underneath. Okay, I'm back underneath the truck to show you that I have the new oil filter back on. It's easier to see from underneath because of the lighting. Make sure you wipe off as much excess oil as you can when you put it back on, so that if it leaks at all you'll be able to tell. Okay, the only thing left to do is fill the truck up with oil right on top of your engine. Find your oil fill right next to your oil check. A good thing to do if you don't have a funnel on hand, grab an empty oil quart, take your knife and just cut the bottom off of it, or halfway up, cut it off so that you can use that for a funnel. Alright, here's the makeshift funnel I made quickly. Pretty self-explanatory. Stick that right in there, and you'll be able to pour your oil in up there. There's 1 quart. I usually leave it sitting there and drain the last bit out while I open the next quart. Number 5. And then the quart that we opened to pour a little bit on the filter, that's what we'll use to get our half a quart out of, because it takes 5.5 quarts for this truck. Alright, so we got about 28 ounces left in the quart that we used to pour a little in the filter. So half a quart, 16 ounces, 16 minus 28 is 12. So we'll dump this down to 12 into the engine. Then just save the rest of the quart for later on after you check your oil in case you need to add a little bit more. Alright, we've got the oil poured in down to the 12-ounce mark. So we got 5.5 quarts back into the truck. I usually like to save this. I always set it over here. If you put it right down underneath, it'll stay right there. So you'll always have a little extra oil underneath the hood of your truck. Take this out. Put your cap back on, and that should be the end of your oil change. You're done. Simple and easy. If it wasn't for the rain, it would have been fast. I had to run to town for the correct filter. It's something you guys can do yourself. Help you get to know your vehicle a little bit better. Save you a little bit of money. It's a good skill to have, and it's part of the do-it-yourself lifestyle.